talk about how to be an amazing buyer's agent and how to work with internet leads. So this is kind of two classes that really blend into one so seamlessly that for the purposes of today, we've kind of just made this into one cohesive class. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So how do you become an amazing buyer's real estate agent, right? So most agents, when they're getting started, you start by working with buyers. You know, you can start out with listings. There's nothing wrong with that. But for some reason, people just start by working with buyers. So we're going to talk about how to be an amazing buyer's real estate agent. Now, how many of you guys realize there are okay agents and there are really, really good agents? Not all real estate agents are created equally. So the purpose and objectives. Why do buyers need a real estate agent? It's a valid question. Understanding the order of why, when, where, and how. Qualifying the buyer and developing loyalty. Some strategies to get the buyer-broker agreement signed, and selling your values. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that buyer-broker agreement when we get there. Now, how do you prepare to win? You guys realize that half of winning comes in the preparation, right? So we talk about these athletes, we talk about, you know, all these superstars, musicians and actors. What we see is just that 1%. What we don't see is the 99%, the practice, the time in the gym, the time with vocal coaches, the time with all these other things that culminate in that 1% that is our performance. And in real estate, it's the same thing. Being a great agent is all about practice leading up to that moment when I'm in front of the client and now I'm on. You know, this is my time to perform. So Zillow, the world's leading real estate lead generation internet portal, and forgive me as I gag while I say this, admits that the average agent internet lead conversion is 2 to 3%, and a great agent converts 5 to 6. This is national statistics. I'll tell you, I bought Zillow leads for 18 months. I used every tool at my disposal, and I converted 4.9%. That was my conversion. I was almost a great agent, for whatever that means. So we're going to use our strategy and tools that are taught in this class to achieve 10% or more. Do you guys want to double the national average of conversion? I would like to. There we go. So, why do some real estate professionals do well? Good morning. And why do others do poorly if we're all given the same opportunity and the same quality of leads? What do you think?
Different determination.
Determination. Okay, what else?
Way they're handled.
Okay. Level of preparation.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably a big part of it.
Skills.
Level of skill, absolutely. So why do real estate professionals believe that buyers just automatically choose us because we have a real estate license, we pass the requirements to become a real estate agent, we have access to the MLS, and we can open a door? Does that really qualify us to be a great agent? No. But wouldn't you say, based on your experience, that that's probably where most real estate agents stop?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is. That's where most people go, you know what? Haha, I got my little realtor pin. Mine stays on my backpack, right there. I got my realtor pin. I'm official. I'm good. That's all I need. That's not how it works, unfortunately. So then why do real estate professionals believe that all they need to do is get basic criteria information, set up a search in the MLS, and then send it to a buyer? So for example, tell me if this sounds familiar. Thanks so much for calling. I understand you're looking for houses. How many bedrooms do you need? How many bathrooms? Is there a particular community? What about a garage? Do you need a pool? Okay, awesome. I'll set up that search in the MLS and I'll have it over to you shortly. Seems reasonable, right? But have I really gotten to the heart of what this buyer is actually looking for? Now, how many 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car garage homes exist in Pasco County? A lot. Now, I haven't asked any follow-up questions to help them really hone in on what it is that they're looking at. So now if I send them 137 properties, am I really doing my job as a real estate agent? No. But this is what most agents do when they work with buyers. So why then do some real estate professionals do extremely well and others do poorly when they're given the same opportunities and the same leads? Well, because few agents actually apply themselves to learning and putting into action those skills, those things that are going to set us apart from being a mediocre agent and a great agent. So why do so few real estate professionals put forth the effort and time that it takes to learn and practice and perfect their skills? Why do you think?
They can tell they are.
Okay. Good enough is good enough. What else?
They see it as a hobby.
Okay, that's valid. But even those agents that work at this full time, why do you think that, okay, working your scripts and developing a farm area and doing all these things that we're teaching you in intensity that most of these agents are never going to do, why does that matter?
They don't care.
Is it hard?
Yes.
Does it take time? Does it take energy? Does it take dedication? So unfortunately, we have this generation of people who believe that if it's not easy and I have to work at it, it's not worth doing. I'll give you an example. My daughter, who's now in middle school, when she was in 5th grade, the teacher did a poll, and she's done this poll for 25 years. And she said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she has kept a book every year of what her students have responded. What do you think was the #1 answer for my daughter's class a few years ago? Any other guesses? The #1 answer was a YouTube star.
Okay.
These children in 5th grade were aspiring to be a YouTube star. That was the #1, and it was like over 50% of the class. We don't have children that want to be firefighters or astronauts or teachers. They want to be freaking YouTube stars. Are you kidding me? So the teacher actually had to do an entire lesson with these 10 and 11-year-olds that, you know, these YouTube stars that you're watching that can make a living from doing what they're doing represent like 0.2% of all the people who put stuff out on YouTube. But these kids have this idea that I can go do a Jackass style show where I can do something stupid and I can make a living doing this. And this is what they were aspiring to. Now, fast forward, these are the people that are getting into real estate. These are people that are getting into sales. These are people that are starting to run businesses. They don't want to take the time to learn how to be effective at their craft. And the problem is that even that phrase, being good at your craft, very few people even look at their job or their business as a craft anymore. This idea that we're not going to have plumbers or electricians because it's a trade. It's something you have to apprentice to, and something you have to work towards, and something you have to become good at. They don't want that. They want to just go, hey, let me buy a GoPro, and all of a sudden I've got 15 sponsors and I'm making 10 grand a week. It's not how it works. But we have this mindset, and we're seeing it in different aspects of business every day. So now real estate professionals that seek success must learn and practice the skill of providing their unique value proposition. So in this room, how many of you know what your unique value proposition is in real estate? Anybody? Okay, good. So you're in the right place. You have to understand what your unique value proposition is that best serves your leads and how to present it. So do you guys know what a unique value proposition is? No. Okay. So a unique value proposition is what I can do that nobody else can do. What is unique to me? So I'll give you guys my team's basically unique value proposition. 10% of every commission we earn gets donated to a nature-related charity in Florida. That's our unique value proposition. I'm not in it to go out and buy a new Bentley or to do these things. I use my real estate commission to donate back to charities because it's what I'm passionate about. My wife and I run an ocean conservation charity. We're passionate about it. So I use real estate as a means of doing well and doing good. So this is kind of my unique value proposition. I'm not just out there to sell homes because I want to go buy a new car every year. I'm out there because I want to take the money that I earn and give back to the things that I care about. That's my unique value proposition. It's in our marketing. All the marketing we do, 10% of our commissions get donated back to a charity of your choice. It's right there. It's front and center of who we are. So you need to find that value proposition and use it advantageously. Maybe you specialize in 55 and up communities, or maybe you specialize in waterfront homes, or whatever it is. Your unique value proposition is something that you can do that nobody else can do as well. Something that you are going to invest in. So we have to clearly recognize why it is that buyers really need real estate professionals. So, does a buyer need a real estate agent to look at homes?
Not really anymore.
No. I mean, we have virtual walkthroughs and 360 tours of being able to walk through a house. I can literally see every square inch of the house that I want to see right from my pajamas on my couch. Do I need an agent to walk me through this house? No. We have technology that can do this for us.
Well, I guess I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do it through video conferencing. You don't even have to be there.
Exactly. I've got a buyer that's in Alaska. And when we go look at houses, we turn on FaceTime and I literally walk her through the house with my video camera. Yeah. They don't even have to be here to see it. So do they need a real estate professional to be able to see homes? Well, no. So again, Zillow did a study that asked home buyers, what is it that a realtor provides to you that you appreciate most? And their answer was local knowledge. So in Florida, we're a very transient state. We have a lot of people that come in from other areas, Canada, New England, the Midwest. We get a lot of people that come here. So the difference is they need a real estate agent that understands the local market. Real estate is still a very hyper-local industry. Now, buyers don't need a real estate agent to search for homes in the MLS. There's 200 different websites out there that allow buyers to find exactly what they want. They don't need me for that. They can go on Realtor.com or Zillow or Homes.com or KW.com or FloridaLuxury.com or any of the other million, Redfin. They can find homes without us. So what this does is it presents a challenge. Buyers need real estate professionals for information and services that are either not understood or not accessible to them. So access to touring homes listed by real estate agents, because they can't just knock on the door and walk in, you know. They need access and understanding of the legal documents. So we're actually executing contracts for these people. You know, we're serving in what other industries would consider a legal capacity. We are actually executing legal documents for huge purchases. We have skill and data and knowledge for negotiating. Do you guys realize that negotiation is one of the biggest things that we should be telling people that we do? And we do it every single day, and most real estate agents never think about it. So we're writing up an offer. The house is listed for $299. The buyer wants to write an offer for $280. Is it a good idea in this market? No. Because homes are selling to 95 to 99% of list price when they're listed properly. Most buyers now have gotten smart. They can look and go, well, I've looked at 3 other houses on the street and this one's $15,000 higher than the rest. They know this. Is this something they need us for? No. They're getting more smarter, and more tech savvy, and more informed than they've ever been before.
Sometimes they ask me or us just to test to see.
Absolutely.
What are houses selling for here? They already know.
Right. So I have a friend that's an attorney, and she's always said, you never ask a question you don't already have the answer to. As real estate agents, that happens every day. Now, guidance to obtaining services to confirm property meets condition expectations. Do you guys realize that our affiliates are one of the biggest aspects of our business? our home inspectors, our lenders, our appraisers, our plumbers, our electricians. These are things they don't have, things that they are specifically looking to us to get. And then comfort by the skills and knowledge that we're there to protect their best interest. So at the end of the day, they have to know that we are in their corner. Is Zillow in their corner? No, Zillow is a machine. And that's why all these people that say, you know, in 5 years, there won't be a real estate agent anymore. And I laugh at them. Because the first time that an appraisal doesn't come in right, or an inspector finds something in a house, I want to see a computer navigate that. It'll never happen. There are too many moving parts to ever fully replace the human nature of real estate with a machine. It just won't happen. So buyers commit to real estate professionals, which help them find the perfect home using criteria that are not available in the home search website. So they can look for 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car garage homes, right? Can they necessarily know certain things about a community that might make it more appealing to them? Not normally. This is the type of local knowledge that we can provide to them. Oh, where's the nearest Catholic church? Where's the nearest playground? Where's the nearest dog park? Do you know how frustrating it is to try and find a dog park when you're trying to figure out on a map when you have no idea where the area is? Yes. Oh, I'm buying a house in Spring Hill and there's a dog park in Tarpon Springs. How far apart is that? On a map, they can't figure this out. This is why they need us. So agents then are able to capture the internet buyer leads by taking an interest in the buyer and their wants. And we're going to touch on this a little bit more later in the class. But if I'm getting this internet lead and it's, hey, so how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, and how many car garage do you need? Have I really done anything that they haven't already done themselves? No. So what we need is we need to start honing in on those items that are important to the buyer so that they come back and go, oh, well, when I talked to Greg, he didn't just ask me the same stupid question that the other 6 agents on Zillow asked me. He actually got to the heart of what it is that I need. So we earn the opportunity and the loyalty. So see this word loyalty right there? Won't work on that. That loyalty is what we really work, what we really want. Because I can work with 10,000 buyers, but if they're all like kind of what you were saying, I've got an agent here and an agent there and an agent here and an agent there. Do they have loyalty to anybody? No. So we need to focus on those intimate details which best satisfy the buyer's reason and the buyer's purpose. Now, by asking how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, have I touched on their reason or their purpose in any way? No. So is it a quiet area with sidewalks to walk my dog? Can I park my motorhome in the driveway? I'm a plumber. Can I park my work truck in the driveway? Okay, well, depending on the HOA, maybe not. But can they find that on Zillow? No, of course not. Is the water deep enough for my sailboat? Well, are there certain communities that have waterfront canals that you couldn't have a sailboat in? Absolutely. Yeah. So these are the things that we need to hone in on because they're things that I can do that no other search engine on the planet will ever be able to do. What kid-friendly things are there nearby to do? So how we need to convert those internet leads is we need to instantly respond and be available at all times. So yes, this does mean responding to internet leads at 2 o'clock in the morning. Do you really want to get up every time your phone chimes? I don't. I kind of like sleeping. I haven't had a baby in a very long time. The days of sleeping for 2 hours and getting up and, you know, those are gone. I like my sleep. You know, granted, it's only 6 hours a night, but I like my sleep. Be ultra aggressive at contacting and connecting with them. We're going to talk about that too. We need to engage with extreme enthusiasm. So when we call them, should we sound like Eeyore? Hi, this is Greg. Thanks so much for calling. I really appreciate it. How can I help you? Does that sound like somebody that you really want to be excited to work with? Probably not. If I call back and go, hey, thanks so much for calling. I'm glad to have heard from you. How can I help? That's probably somebody that's going to get a little bit more reaction. And then immediately provide the information that's requested. Now, whether we like it or not, we live in a now generation. Instant, fast food. My groceries get delivered to my house. I don't even have to leave my house to get groceries anymore. I want what I want, and I want it now. Right. So, what does this tell us, though? We have clients out there that are willing to pay money to have their groceries delivered to their house, right? Are they as concerned with price as convenience? No. They know there's a fee for Uber Eats to have somebody go pick up my fast food and deliver it to my house. I know there's a fee for this, but am I going to pay for it? Well, I'm not going to pay for it, but there are people out there that do. So people are not as concerned with the price as they are the value, the convenience. We need to be able to cater to those types of things. So we need to connect through emphasizing deep knowledge. Again, those things they're not going to find on those internet search engines. We need to ask them questions outside of the search criteria, and we've kind of harped on that. We need to get them using your search portal. So how many of you guys have used the Florida Luxury app? How many of you have clients that use the Florida Luxury app? I will tell you, every person that I've gotten using my app loves it. It is a phenomenal piece of technology. Get them away from Zillow, because what happens when they find a house they like on Zillow? 1, 2, 3, 4 options right there.
700% fixed sales.
Right, exactly. Is it easy to just go click and get that person's information? Absolutely. Have we just established that people are lazy? So if they're using your app, guess whose name pops up on every single listing they look at? Mine, or yours, if it's your app. But on my app, it's always me. Now use video communication to consult with out-of-area leads. How many of you guys use video regularly? Like video chat or FaceTime or, okay. This is a piece of technology that we all, as an industry, really have to start getting comfortable with. This idea that I'm too self-conscious to ever put myself in front of a video camera. Just have to get over it. Because this is how people are communicating now. The skills of having a face-to-face conversation are diminishing. People will literally text from one room to the next. Hey, can you bring me something? No, you can get your butt up and come in here and get it yourself. But this is the technology. This is what we have. People communicate through video. My daughter has her iPad, and her best friend, rather than walking 9 houses down, will just FaceTime. I'm like, no, get on your bike and go down there. Get off of your computer screen and go make meaningful connections. But this is the generation that we're up against. So what we need to do is we always need to start with the why. And in all aspects of business and in all aspects of psychology, everything begins with the why. So it's kind of the polar opposite of the alphabet. In the alphabet, the why comes at the end. In every other aspect of business, the why comes first. Why are they buying a home? Do you think this matters? Do you think that as a real estate agent, if I understand why they're making the decision they're making, I can better suit and tailor myself to that? Absolutely. Oh, I've got a job transfer and I've got to be there in 50 days. Okay, well, what does that tell me? We're getting you under contract this week because I'm going to need 35 to 40 days to close. You've only got 50 days? Do we have a month to go looking for properties? No. We've got to do this quickly. So from this, you're able to identify what is their unique values in choosing the home that they're choosing. You need to provide them insights and values that they can't get from the internet. We've harped on this. Now, how do you qualify those internet leads? Who, when, where, and what? Good morning. So we've established their why. Everything starts with their why. Now that we know the why, now we need to figure out the who, where, when, what, and then finally the how. So who are the buyers? If I'm talking to Mrs. Smith, but Mr. Smith also needs to be on it, do I have all the decision makers? No. So if I'm just showing Mrs. Smith property, am I likely to be able to close that sale? No. Because I'm going to have to go back again to show it to Mr. Smith, and now I've just created double the work for myself. But if I think that Mrs. Smith is the only buyer, and I'm out showing her 9 properties, and then she's like, oh, well, can I bring my husband back to go look at these 4 again? Well, have I just wasted an entire day? Absolutely. I need the decision makers in front of me. When are they looking to make the purchase? Oh, my son graduates high school next May. That's when we're looking to make a move. But can we go look at houses today? No. No. Because if you're not going to buy for a year, this house should not still be on the market. So I'm not going to have you fall in love with something today that you're then going to compare a year from now. Well, remember that house we looked at? I really want that one. Okay, no. Where should they be looking? My husband works in St. Pete and I work in Newport Richey. Should we be looking at houses in Spring Hill? Probably not. Should we be looking maybe in the Clearwater area that's kind of in the middle between the two? Yeah, that makes more sense. But if they say, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car garage for $150,000, my immediate thought is we're probably going to Spring Hill. But if I don't know the rest of this story, then I've completely missed it. Because if I send them all these properties in Spring Hill, and then the husband goes, I'm not driving 2 hours to work, I've missed it. I've completely lost the opportunity to be able to work with them. And then the last part is the how. How will they be able to make the purchase? Now, the who, what, when, where, when are all conversations that involve positive emotions. So we talked about the why. The why is always either good or bad. Something has happened and I've got to be closer to sick parents. Well, is that necessarily an exciting reason to move? No, but it's a why. It could be positive or negative. But the who, the when, the where, and the what are all positives, always. So who are the buyers? Oh, my husband and I are the buyers. Okay, awesome. When are you looking to make a purchase? Oh, we want to purchase next month. Okay, awesome. They're excited about it, right? Where should you be looking? Well, I'm excited because I'm going to be in a new house. What is your desire and your criteria? Well, these are things they're excited to talk about. So these are all positives. They are connected to their desires and dreams. So we want to spend some time on these with them. Because what are we establishing with them? Rapport and trust. So know you, like you, trust you. This is how we develop that trust. Now it's important that you spend enough time on the who, when, where, and what to create that trust and acceptance to be able to continue to the how. Now is the how always a positive? Not normally. Because do you think it's sometimes stressful for somebody to know that they have to talk to a lender and they've got to divulge all of their financial information and all of their credit history and all of these things? Do you think that's always comfortable for buyers? Right, exactly. So the how is not always comfortable. But when we focus on those other aspects, we earn the opportunity by sharing our local area knowledge, which we've already talked about. That's something they can't find anywhere else. They need me for that. And then you build their trust to earn loyal clients. Now, do I just want loyalty for one deal? No. I want loyalty for their entire network and their entire duration of buying or selling houses. I want to be that agent. And we talk about that a lot on Working by Referral. But when you earn trust, they're then comfortable enough with you that they're going to send you other people they know to be able to sell their homes too. And then if you establish their trust, do you kind of see how this grows exponentially? So the National Association of Realtors did a study, and it asked home buyers, what was the most important thing for working with the realtor that you chose to help you with the buying process? Almost half of them said trust. So in this industry, as real estate professionals, do we have the reputation of being like a used car salesman or a horse trader?
Oh, yes.
Unfortunately, we do.
Natural steps.
Yes, exactly. Real estate as a whole, people do not understand what we do for them. And the more I work in real estate, the more I understand why we have the reputation we have. Because we would go back to that very first slide where people go, yep, I got my realtor pen, I'm good to go. And that's where it stops for most agents. They don't do any other education. They don't do any other training. They just go out there and wing it. And it's unfortunate, but it happens every day. And I talk to people that are referred to me and they said, you know what? The agent that helped me buy this house 3 years ago, I would never use again, ever. Well, how did you find that agent? Zillow. So that's why I started asking people that I know, like, and trust who I should call. Because I was so burned by this experience that I don't ever want to go through that again. So I want to know that you are the agent I need to talk to before I ever pick up the phone. People that are totally gun shy when it comes to real estate professionals. And it's something that we have to overcome. Now, trust is kind of a big word. So how do we define trust for the purposes of know, like, and trust? Well, trust is the client having confidence that you have the skills and knowledge to find or lead them to the perfect home, that you're available, you're reachable, and you have good communication, that you're a strong negotiator, you're knowledgeable in assisting and protecting them through the process of buying. Seems pretty straightforward, right? But what does available, reachable, and good communication mean?
Following up each task, letting the customer know what's going on.
Does it mean making phone calls?
Text, email, various.
Depends on the buyer.
Yeah.
So one of the first questions I ask is, how do you prefer to be communicated with? Because I have clients that will never pick up their phone. My wife, prior to being in real estate, does not answer her phone. We joke, her father calls her the flipper. Because when somebody calls, she just flips her phone over and it sends it to voicemail. It's just who she is. She hates talking on the phone. But you send her a text 2 seconds later and you'll get exactly what you need. And the more I work with people, the more I find out that this is true. That they will respond to a text message that fast, they will not answer their phone. I don't know why. It makes me crazy. Because for me, I just want to pick up the phone. I don't want to send 14 text messages, but I can have a 3-minute conversation. But I need to understand what good communication means to these buyers, or sellers for that matter. Because for me to have good communication means that I communicate in the way that they want to communicate. It's not the way I want to communicate, it's the way that they want to communicate. And that's important. Now, to be a strong negotiator, how do they know that? How do they know that I'm a strong negotiator? If I'm just Joe Nobody off the street, they can't know that, right? So this has to come from some other point of reference. They have to know somebody that says, you know what, I worked with Greg and he negotiated the crap out of this deal and got me exactly what I wanted. So sometimes when you're dealing with internet leads and things like that, this one's tough. But the knowledgeable in assisting and protecting them through the process of buying, especially if they're already gun shy, I have to show them that I'm willing to bust my butt and work hard and get this done for them, to look out for them. Because do you think it's a little bit scary for somebody that's buying a $100,000, a $400,000 house? Do you think that's a little bit scary for them? Absolutely. Do you think it's emotional? Do you think all real estate agents should have a psychology degree? Yes. Because we are therapists first and salespeople second. That's just real estate. This is one of the most stressful events that any person will ever go through in their life, buying or selling a house. So what I tell them is, I fully expect that you, Mr. Buyer, are going to be emotionally invested in this process. I would expect nothing less. But what I need for you to understand is when you start to go down this emotional rabbit hole, I'm not going to go with you. Because the reason for that is I'm the professional. My job is to stay neutral and negotiate and advocate on your behalf. And if we're both spiraling down this emotional rabbit hole, can I be in the right mind frame to look out for you? No. And people tend to appreciate that. I'm not the emotional guy. My friends call me the Tin Man. I don't have big highs, I don't have big lows. I'm right in the middle all the time. You'll probably never ever see me cry. I can probably count on one hand the number of people that have ever seen me cry. It's just who I am. I am just that middle, even. But when it comes to emotional situations, I am the one that people want to call because they know I'm not going to get into that emotional rabbit hole with you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep a level head and I'm going to get us through it. That develops that trust. Because there are agents, and I know a bunch of them, that follow those clients right down the rabbit hole. And then they call me and go, oh my God, oh no, the whole thing's falling apart and I don't know what to do and I don't know how to do this. And I said, okay, stop. This is just Tuesday. This is just what we do. So stop for a minute. Think about what we have to do next and then let's go do it. That's the beauty of being able to do this for a living is I can already see what's coming. Is this house going to appraise for the contract price we just wrote? Nope. But did we have to do it to appease the seller? Absolutely. But I'm already thinking through, when this appraisal comes in low, and me being the professional, I know it's going to, how am I going to overcome this? How am I going to keep this emotional roller coaster from taking me for a ride? These are the kinds of things that as real estate professionals, a machine will never be able to do. They just won't. There's a certain aspect to it that can never be done by a machine. So the how can be either a positive or a negative, depending on the lead's challenges for affording their home. So I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house on a 1/4 acre lot, and I've got a $70,000 budget. Am I going to get it? If we fast forwarded back to like 1969, maybe. But in today's market, no. 70,000 is not going to get you a 2,000 square foot house on a 1/4 acre. It's just not going to happen. So now we have a negative emotion. This is all I can spend. This is all the money I make. This is all I can do. And that is my dream. So how do I get from where I am to where I dream to be? That's our challenge. And so what we need to do then is take this how and find a way to be able to be creative. Okay, is 70,000 really all you can spend? Can we get creative about getting you some down payment assistance or something like that that might increase your ability to get you into an area? Are you willing to make a drive? Are you willing to find a new job in the same industry? If you work in St. Pete but can only afford Hernando County, okay, you're a receptionist, just as an example. Can we get you another reception job in Hernando County so that you're not driving as far? Maybe this is a viable solution. Maybe this is how we can think through your scenario to get you from where you are to where you want to be. This is what we do as real estate agents. So then we have to share the order of steps in the process as well as the expectations for finding and buying a home. Steps and expectations. Do most agents lay out the expectations of what's going to happen in a real estate deal before they get there? No, they just don't. Sometimes I think the real estate agents are as surprised as the client when you get to some of these things. Because I have agents that call me all the time and go, okay, well, the appraisal just came in low. Now what? What do you mean now what? Now we negotiate. Well, how do I negotiate it? Well, does your buyer have additional cash to be able to bring? Nope. Okay, then we have two options. The seller adjusts to the appraisal price, or we find another house. Can the buyer borrow money from somebody as a gift? Do we have this option? I don't know. Okay, well, let's find out. Let's get to this solution. But we need to set those expectations. We need to know what's going to happen before they actually happen. And I have a phrase that I use with all my lenders that I work with. And I say, I don't want to have to chase you down to get updates. I want good news fast and bad news faster. If you can do those three things, we will be just fine. If something is looking like it's about to go bad, I need to know about it before you call my client and go, hey, by the way, your credit score just dropped 6 points and now I can't approve you for a loan. Okay, cool. Let's talk about what's coming so that we know how to get ahead of these things. If they need to sell first, then they need to get their home on the market and under contract with a buyer. If I'm working with them as a buyer and they go, oh, I've got a home to sell and I've got to be able to sell this house before I can buy the next one. Okay, cool. Is your house on the market? Nope. Okay, then why are we looking at houses? Because this is a condition that has to be met. Because if we write up an offer with a home to sell contingency, me as the listing agent is going to go, okay, cool. When was the contract date and when was the inspections done? Oh, well, we don't even have it on the market yet. Then why are you bugging me? You're not ready to buy. But there are a lot of agents that do this every single day. I don't understand it. If they haven't been to a lender, they need to go to a reputable lender and get pre-approved. Now, is there a difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval? Do you guys know the difference? Pre-qualification means what's your social security number, how much money do you make, and how long have you been at your job? Okay, I can get you a pre-qualification with those three pieces of information. A pre-approval means you've sent me your tax stuff, or you sent me your tax filings for the last 2 years. You've sent me your pay stub. You've sent me a copy of your checking account information, and I've run a full credit report. I've actually looked at all of this to make sure that what you're telling me is true. A pre-qualification is normally done off stated information. I make $3,000 a month, and I've been at my job for 2 years. Okay, well, you make $3,000 a month before taxes, and you've been at your job for 19 months. That's not 2 years. But if a lender goes, oh, they've been at their job for 2 years, and they make this much money, cool, I can approve them for that, or I can qualify them for that. But an actual approval means they have actually verified the information that the buyer is giving them. Now, if you've earned their trust, they'll follow your guidance. Another phrase that I use with my clients from time to time is, okay, somebody has to be driving this deal, right? If I let you, Mr. Client, drive, you're not necessarily sure where we're going. So if I drive, I at least know where we're trying to go, and I know where the road bumps are, the speed bumps. So it makes a lot more sense to let me drive than to let you drive because you're not sure where we're going. If you're navigationally challenged and I'm like, cool, we're going across the country, and you can't read a map, probably not the person I want navigating. These are the ideas. And as you convey this, people go, oh, you really are the expert. You actually do know what you're doing because it makes total sense. So it's all about having a clearly defined strategy plan and having the right tools for the job. Does my realtor pen give me the right tools for the job? Nope. Do most people think it does? Absolutely. Most of what I learned in my real estate class, you know how many times I've had to figure out how many meets and bounds and whatever, 1/8 of 1/4 of blah, blah, blah. You know how many times I've used that? None. Not one. I go into tax records and it gives me that. It's amazing. So just because I passed that realtor exam, real estate exam, doesn't mean that I have the skills and tools needed to be effective at my job. So when should I make contract? What methods are there for making contract? What is an effective contract dialogue and script? These are things that me as the agent should be asking myself. Well, can I fill out a paper contract by hand? Sure. What are the methods? Can I do it over the phone? Nope. Can I present an offer to a seller over the phone? Nope. It's not in writing. It's not enforceable. I have to be able to understand this. So, when should I make contact with these people that are calling in? Instantly. If I haven't called back within about 90 to 120 seconds, have they already called the next realtor? Yes. And that opportunity is gone. Because if you're the second or third person to call back, they're like, sorry, I've already gotten somebody else on the phone. I appreciate it. Have a good day. Click. They have this instant expectation. They want it now. Now, when it comes in, how do I reach out to them? Every way you can. Call them, email them, text message them. How often should I try to contact a lead? You have to speak with them to convert them. So the fortune is in the follow-up. Okay, let me run this scenario. We are in a situation where I got an internet lead. I send them a text immediately. I send them a voicemail, or I send them an email immediately. I don't hear back. The next day, I try calling them. I don't hear back. Oh, they're not a good lead, right? That's what most people think. I've reached out 3 or 4 times over the first couple of days. I haven't heard anything. They must be gone. Do you know how long it normally takes to get a hold of somebody?
18, something like that.
So on average, it's between 14 and 22 touches. So emails, text messages, phone calls. I've got to reach out to you 20 times on average before I'm going to get a response. How many agents are doing that? Not many. So, day 1, in the morning, call, text, and email. Send a Facebook message. Facebook stalk people. It's not hard. Hi, Bob. Yesterday, you inquired about my listing from Realtor.com. I'm following up to make sure you received the information that you requested. I'm here to help with any questions or schedule a showing. Give me a call. Later again that evening, call, email, and text again. I help my clients buy the right home at the right price for the right terms and the right time frame. I'd be honored to help you do the same. Calling up again. Send a video message. We can actually shoot a video text message. From our phone, when you're in there, you can literally hit the video button and you can do up to a 1-minute video that you can send right from text message. This is actually a text message Scott had sent Charisse. So you can do it just sitting right at your desk. Hey, so sorry I missed you, but I'd really love to connect. Give me a call when you have a chance. Click, send. Now all of a sudden they have a face. Does that make you a bit more personal? Absolutely. Because now they have a face to this random person they connected with on the internet. Day 2, and sorry, I don't know why this didn't convert to white. In the morning, call, text, and email again. Hi, Bob. Are you still interested in buying or selling your home this year? 4 to 6 p.m., call, and then add them to your property drip. You need to speak to them to be able to convert them. Day 3, call and text about every 5 days until they respond. So we're still reaching out. Now, do we have tools to be able to make this easier to do? Absolutely. Put them on your Google Calendar. Set your reminders every 5 days, not a big deal. So you do this for a month, and then after that, you call them about once a month until they contact you, respond, or die. So either they buy or they die. That's just how it goes. And then you add them to your email and Facebook for a custom audience so that they're seeing the stuff you're sending. Now, let's say you fully connect and they say, stop! You've been blowing me up for a month. Stop! Thanks so much. I pride myself on being the most focused and then following up. Because I know that buying or selling a home can be emotional. It can be challenging. And I pride myself on being as helpful to as many people as I can. One of the things that I do is follow up aggressively. So when clients hire me to go find the home or to buy or sell, boy, do they appreciate how determined I am. I'm sorry if I overcalled or emailed you, but let me ask before I let you go. Are you still thinking about buying or selling a home? Sometimes it works. I mean, it's always just about spinning this information. So what is an effective dialogue or script? And we've got some of these in your, actually I think they'll go out in the emails today. You'll have some of these scripts. But thanks for reaching out. You were recently on Zillow, Facebook, whatever, and I want to thank you for registering, blah, 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 and kind of work through. The idea is that you want to be able to get in front of them and make that connection and make an appointment. Because what happens when you make an appointment with them? You now personify that relationship. You solidify them. If I can get in front of somebody, they're going to work with me. It's just kind of how I do my business. Over the phone, 50-50. I'm just not great on the phone. That's who I am. I'm okay with it. So let's talk a little bit about some of the internet lead service. So we talked about being a buyer's agent and kind of working through some of those. But let's talk about what internet lead service may actually be an effective way to run your business. Before we move on, do you guys have any questions about the buyer's agent aspect? All right. So there are several internet lead capture services to choose from. Zillow, Realtor, Trulia, Homes.com, Bold Leads, Boomtown, Tiger Leads, Zirple, Real Geeks, Market Leader, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are literally hundreds out there. So how do you choose which one is right for you? You have to ask yourself 3 questions. Do I want a service that does it all, or one that I have to do something to be able to capture those leads? So for example, Zillow, they do the SEO to capture the traffic and sell leads back to you. Let's be real, these are our leads. These are people who are interested in real estate that Zillow has found a way to intercept and then go, you know what? I can charge real estate agents a fee to take back these leads because they're calling me about their properties. They're just selling us back our own leads. And people are paying through the nose for them. Now, something like Real Geeks. It provides me with a user interface website that captures lead contact and provides a CRM service, but I have to market to capture traffic to that website. So something like Real Geeks. We kind of have a back office system that does most of this for us, right? So this presentation kind of predates the new back office. And you have to ask yourself this: how much can I reasonably afford to spend on internet lead capture? Does the amount of money you're able to spend dictate which sources might be more effective than others? Absolutely. When I've talked to a number of agents, and I've even talked to some people at Zillow, they said unless you're able to spend $1,000 a month on a target zip code, don't bother. Because you cannot get enough of a percentage, enough of a saturation in that market to get any sort of return on investment. That's $1,000 a month. And that's what I was spending. I spent it for 18 months. At the end of the 18 months, it was kind of a break-even proposition for me. That's why I stopped doing it. At the end of 18 months, I had made just enough money to go, okay, I got the leads, I closed some deals, I was making some money, but I'm spending $1,000 a month to break even. I was closing one deal about every 3 months. So I'm spending $3,000 to close one deal for a, let's call it $5,000 or $6,000 commission. Okay, so I'm spending $3,000 to make $6,000. There's a lot of better ways to do this. Now, can they provide leads to me for my preferred geographical area? So I call Zillow and I say, hey, so I want 34655. I want Trinity zip codes. Sorry, we've got a 2-year waiting list on that zip code. Well, if I can't buy leads in the area that I want to farm, because we've been talking about farm areas and things like that, if I can't buy leads in my farm area, is there any point? No, because I want to farm this area, but I have to buy leads over here. Well, no, it's not an effective way of using money. So with Zillow, they do the SEO to capture the traffic to the service and then pass the lead back to me. The pros is less time. The leads are already there. They're sending me people that are there. The cons, it's going to cost me more per lead. There's more competition attempting to connect and convert leads. So with Zillow, what was happening is they were sending it out to 3 agents at a time, and the first agent to grab it is the one who got it. But guess what? All 3 agents were paying for that one lead. And only one of the 3 agents were actually getting it.
And they can go to multiple people.
Correct.
So
Exactly.
one agent to have 5 agents getting them.
You got it. So you're going to spend a lot of money. There's going to be a lot of competition. But are there agents who make a really good living off of Zillow leads? Absolutely. I know of one in Pinellas County. She spends $20,000 a month, and she closes 250 deals a year. For her, there's no other way that she would do her business. She has a team of agents who literally sit in the office and do nothing but call these leads back from 5 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. And then in the after hours service, she's got a phone service that grabs them and makes those calls back at 2 o'clock in the morning. She's spending a fortune, but she's making good money. She has 80% saturation in the zip code she owns. So for her, absolutely, keep spending the money. No problem. For me, trying to get in at, $800, $1,000 a month, maybe not so much. Now, Real Geeks. This provides me with a user interface website that captures lead contacts, provides CRM, but I have to market to capture the traffic. So the pro, less dollar per lead, very low competition. The con, you're going to spend a lot of your time setting up that marketing, and then you're going to spend additional money to market that. Now again, in our back office, we have something similar. We've got a CRM. We have the ability to actually create Facebook targeted ads that we can send out there. And I meant to actually do one before we started and I forgot. A couple of others, Follow Up Boss, Conversations, Riley. Follow Up Boss is a CRM. It's designed for nurturing and managing internet leads from portal partners such as Zillow and Realtor.com. So if you are advertising on Zillow or Realtor or Homes, you can use Follow Up Boss. So what this does is when a phone call comes in at 2 o'clock in the morning, you can set an autoresponder so that they're getting that response right away. Thanks so much for your inquiry. We'll have the information that you requested over shortly. I'll be back in touch, whatever it is. They do that for you. So I'm not having to roll out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning to answer that phone call. I have basically a system there that does that for me. Now, Riley is a texting service that imports leads from your real estate portals and instantly sends a text message. So same thing. When the lead comes in, they send the email out, Riley sends the text out, and it goes out. It's all automated. I don't have to think about it. But these two things together were about another $100 a month. So I had to spend the money to have the systems to be able to effectively work those real estate leads. Any questions so far?
Yeah, when you said the farm area, so I was kind of under the impression that the farm area was like, do you shape the communities like you're picking, but you can pick a zip code as a farm area too?
So, yes and no. What you're actually wanting to do for your particular farm area is you want to have between about 300 and 600 homes. So that might be 2 neighborhoods. That might be, a block. That might be whatever it is. The listing sources will sell zip codes. So at Zillow, I can't say, hey, I only want leads from Carpenter's Run. I have to buy the whole zip code.
Oh, okay.
So I still want a farm, but if my farm area is here, I don't want to buy the zip code 2 cities over because I'm not going to get the leads in my farm area. But if I buy this particular zip code, I'm going to get some in my farm area and some around, but I'm still going to get access to my farm area.
So basically, it's like a neighborhood.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Any other questions? So, what is an effective strategy or plan for capturing and converting internet leads? You have to get a commitment for an appointment to meet. You have to get in front of them. Because I guarantee you, you cannot establish loyalty from somebody that you have not been face-to-face with. It's just part of the human nature. You have to make sure the buyer's qualified. Does this mean we should have good lending partners? Definitely. Because do I want them calling Quicken Loans, and I just use them as an example? No. I want them to go to a lender that I know if I have an issue, excuse me, I can call that lender and say, hey, Lender John, I've got an issue here. What's going on? As opposed to calling and they're like, hi, I'm a kid in a cubicle. I have no idea. I can pull up that number and I can try and figure it out, but the processor that's handling it's on the other side of the country in a totally different time zone. They won't be in their office for 3 more hours. This is how it goes. I want to be able to be that expert that has the people that I know I can send them to. And then you can execute your lead buyer plan. So what is the plan? Well, we're gonna send a snail mail thank you. How many of you guys still do handwritten notes or handwritten cards? Everybody should be. There is nothing more effective in a world of electronic communication than a handwritten note. I do handwritten thank you cards for closing, and it's a comment that people go, who does handwritten cards anymore? Like it's just this foreign concept that you would actually take a pen and put it to paper. You mean you didn't just type it out and click print? What? It's amazing. Set up client gateway in the MLS search. So what does that mean? Setting up a search in the MLS, looking for those properties. Adding the buyer to your drip email system. Do we have that in our back office?
I don't know, I don't do it.
Yep, I can show you. We need to add to-dos and touch base times to our daily scheduler. How do we do that? Google Calendar. Set your calendar. Put your to-do list right into your calendar. When you go into Google, I'll show you guys. You go into calendar and you go to create a new item. You can set a goal, you can set a reminder, or you can set an event. I can put my to-do list as a reminder right into my calendar. It's totally automated, so I can roll out of bed and go, okay, what do I need to do today? I don't have to wake up and go, crap, what was that thing yesterday that I was gonna do? Now I can't remember. Exactly.
It actually has it on red, it's
Yeah.
practice scripts, videos and all that, and it actually goes, if you see the pin, it'll actually show you the finger thing, telling you you gotta do it.
Yeah.
Does it reach out and sign if you?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
I did it yesterday.
But I guarantee you, Google will figure out a way to do it.
One thing I don't like about the task is you can't say that you missed the task. You actually have to check it out.
Right, exactly.
That's good.
So part of that comes back to personal accountability and kind of following up with it.
Tell you to track those on.
Right. Yeah, and that's true too. Then we need to prepare a buyer's packet. We need to have our business card. We need to have profile sheets. So before we have the first meeting, we need to go in, and part of you may remember that from Monday this week, you needed to create 3 buyer's packets, right? Well, the idea is we're setting you guys up to actually do this. It's not just, hey, we think it's a good idea to print out these buyer packets. The idea is we're going to get you in front of buyers. So we're building on these ideas. Have your business card, have your profile sheets. You need to have the value of you and references. How many of you guys include references when you give buyers sheets and things like that? Do you think it would set you apart?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Do you have a couple of people that you could call and say, hey, tell me about Greg? Is he really an agent that you would work for or work with? Absolutely. Do these have to be previous real estate clients? Nope. No. These are just people that are going to attest that you're going to be able to do the things that you say you're going to do. Now, in your farm area, let's say you're working with somebody in your farm area. Could you have a Q&A with community info? Hey, you're looking at homes in Carpenter's Run. Here's some common questions that people ask about the community. I'm going to give it to you. What does that do? Positions you as the expert, right? And then a step of what's in the home buying process. What can I expect? Well, here, let me give you, and after every time I put a buyer under contract, I send them the same email. I call it the next steps email. And it says, congratulations. The seller accepted your contract. Now the real fun begins. And then it's like, I've already sent the copy of the executed contract to your lender, but within the next 5 days, you need to make formal application with the lender. They already have the contract, they know the specifics of the property, but you have to make formal application. Within the next 3 days, you've got to make escrow to the title company. Here's the title company's name, here's their address, here's the contact person, and it has to be there by this day. Then, within the next 15 days, we've got to get a home inspection. Here's a list of 3 or 4 home inspectors that my clients have used in the past with good result. Feel free to use any one that you like. Call around. Their prices are pretty similar, but call around and see if there's one you like better than the others. After that, okay, we need to work on getting insurance. Once we have the inspection, we'll get a 4-point and a wind mitigation report. And it's very important that you specifically make sure your inspector is going to give you these reports, but we're going to forward those off to a couple of insurance companies. Now, your lender probably has an insurance company that they work with, but I always encourage my buyers to get quotes from at least 2 other insurance companies, because we want to make sure you're getting the best rate possible. I give you a couple that I've worked with. This is all in that email. So the minute they go under contract, they get this email that they can literally go through and go, okay, did that, did that, did that. Okay, we're good. They have, from the day we go under contract until the day we close, they have a step-by-step, what to expect, what are our time frames, when are these things due, and it's all in that email. So letting them know what this home buying process looks like. Am I gonna have to pay for an inspection? Yep. How much is that? About $400. Okay, cool. Am I gonna have to pay for an appraisal? Well, it depends on your lender. Some lenders pay for it up front and you pay for it at closing. Some charge you for it, you pay out of pocket for it. Let's find out from your lender how they handle it. Normally, I ask this question in advance. But again, that solidifies me as the expert because I already know what's coming. I know exactly how this is going to go. So when something that isn't on the checklist happens, that's when I get the frantic phone call, hey, I didn't know the appraisal could come back low. You know, my lender just called and said, hey, the appraisal's $3,000 low. How do we deal with this? Okay, no problem. This is just Tuesday. This is what we do. You know, I get that you're all nerves and you're like, am I gonna lose my house? Am I not gonna be able to close? And I've got all this stuff in boxes and you know, the mover's already scheduled and okay, look, this is what I do. This is how we work. Everything is fine. Even if I'm thinking, oh crap, did not see that coming. Everything is fine. I'm just a duck on a pond, sitting nice and calm on the surface and my legs are moving a million miles an hour under the water. But you don't see that. You just see the nice calm duck sitting on the water. These are what we can do to get them through this process. Now, what else is in your buyer's packet? You want to have your buyer broker agreement, and you want to have the office disclosures for the buyer. You want to already have these in your paper packet. Now, if I'm face-to-face with somebody and I say, hey, cool, so we're going to be writing up a contract, but before I can do that, I need to have this buyer broker agreement signed, something that our brokerage requires. And basically what it says is you're agreeing to work with me as your buyer's agent. Some agents get this signed right before they walk into the first house. And legally, we probably should be. The reason for this is when we walk a buyer into a house, we are responsible for them, right? So if we don't have a buyer brokerage agreement, we don't have that relationship, we are not legally covered for them. Now, it's a mitigated risk. You know, getting it signed at first meeting is sometimes difficult, but you know, that's one of those things, if you call the Florida Legal Helpline, they're gonna say, you know, technically, if you are representing this buyer, the buyer walks in, they trip in a hole in the backyard and break their ankle, you could be legally responsible. If you are protected by a buyer broker agreement, there's some other levels of protection in there, some release of liability and a few other things. But again, it's kind of a mitigated risk. So just something to be aware of. Now, when you're at your first meetup, give them the buyer's packet. So that Florida Luxury folder, you open it up and it's got all that nice information inside. This one doesn't, this is actually a recruiting packet. But if I'm walking out with a buyer and Agent 1 hands them a stack of MLS sheets that are paper clipped together and go, here, this is what we're going to look at today. Or I walk out and go, so, we are Florida Luxury Realty. Here's my card. It's got my information in it. On this side, here are the MLS sheets of everything we're going to look at. And on this side, here's some information about me, about my company, and about what I do that nobody else does. Do you think this 75-cent folder has made all the difference in the world in the appearance of me versus, Sally Realtor? Absolutely. These are the kinds of things that we can do differently to solidify ourselves as the expert, as the person they want to work with. So now we want to interact with all the buyers. Does this mean I'm going to talk to the kid and ask them which bedroom they want? Absolutely. Because why? I want everybody engaged in the process. Now here's what happens, and I've actually gone out with agents where I just kind of sat back and kind of posed as a buyer. And we go through and we're looking at houses because I'm doing it on behalf of an actual buyer that I have, but hey, I'm the buyer. So we go through and they're only talking to me, right? They're not acknowledging my wife at all because they have it in their head that I'm the decision maker. Little do they know the decision maker is the one that's sitting over here quiet, not saying a word. Because if mama doesn't want it, I don't care how much I love it, we're not buying it. But they are only engaging me because they think I am the decision maker. No. You need to engage everybody in the conversation. Get the kids involved. If they go in and go, oh, I love this room. I have to have this room. Do you think that has a value to mom and dad? Absolutely. But if the kid's just wandering around and I've never acknowledged them at all, do you think I'm going to get any sort of feedback from them? No. Kids by nature are very hesitant to open up to adults. It's just kind of who they are. So the other thing is, and I'll just throw out this piece of psychology, when I'm talking to a child, do you think I'm standing up while they're down here? No. Hey, so what do you think of the house? This is my position because now I'm eye to eye with them. I'm not towering over them. I'm not this big menacing creature. I am eye to eye. I'm on their level. This is my position when I'm talking to a child. You think the parents don't notice that? Of course they do. These are the different little things that we can do, and then show the scheduled homes. Now there's one other piece in here that I didn't type in that I always forget until I'm presenting. Do you think it's important to show up on time? We have this thing called realtor time. I find very, very hard to find a realtor that shows up on time for anything. And I'm not calling you out. It's just realtor time. So I have actually sent a text that said, hey, I'm running a few minutes behind. I'll be there 2 minutes late. And they're like, why would you send me a text to tell me you're going to be 2 minutes late? And normally I end up showing up on time anyway, but I thought I was going to be late. Well, what that does is it sets that expectation that if I tell you I'm going to be here at 2:45, I'm going to be here at 2:40. That's the expectation. That's the level of professionalism that we need to have. Now, what happens is, hey, Mr. Agent, you have to be present for the showing. Awesome. We'll be there at 11. I show up at 10:50. My client shows up at 10:55. The other realtor shows up at 11:10. We've now been sitting there for 20 minutes waiting for you. Do you think that has a great taste for my buyer? No. Because they're frustrated that we made an appointment for 11 o'clock and you don't bother to show up until 10 after. Now we've got to wait for you to go in the house, get all the lights turned on, do whatever you need to do, while we're standing there for another 5 minutes waiting. There's professionalism, and people just don't have it. Now, once you wrap up with the showings, request to sit and chat, either at your office or a nearby place. Hey, let me buy you guys a cup of coffee. Let's go to Starbucks and sit for a minute and talk about the homes that we looked at today. Now, what is the value to that?
Finding out their thoughts and where they're going, where they're towards.
Okay.
More time with them to build trust.
If I just showed you 5 houses and we're not writing an offer on any of the 5 houses we just looked at, am I going to show you 5 more houses tomorrow that are exactly the same? No. So let's go sit down. Let's go through the 5 houses we talked through, and let's talk about what you liked and what you didn't like. Let's establish what it is. I really love the master bedroom in this one, but I loved the kitchen in that one. I hated that there was carpet everywhere. I thought I wanted something with a second story, but you know, I'm just not sure that I really want to have the bedrooms upstairs. The more we went through the 1-story houses, the more I realized I kind of like the big open or whatever. So the idea is when I can sit down and we can talk through this, I'm not going to keep showing you houses that we're not going to write offers on. I'm going to hone in and go, okay, cool. Let's tailor your search down a little bit. We drove through this neighborhood and you did not like this neighborhood at all. Okay, cool. Let's eliminate the search from that neighborhood. Let's only look, because what I don't want to do is I don't want to show you 73 properties that are all exactly the same, and you go, nope, you know, I like that piece, but I don't like that, and, you know, no. What I want to do is I want to take 20 minutes, I want to spend $10 and buy you a cup of coffee, and I want to sit down and say, okay, how can we tailor this? How can we, you know, take those bits and pieces? Now, the other thing that I tell my buyers when we walk through the house is we are not going to have a conversation about this house while we're in here. Good, bad, or indifferent. Because in today's day and age, there are always cameras. If the power is on in the house, there's a camera somewhere. More often than not. Now, what happens if, Mr. Buyer, you're walking through and you go, yep, this is the one. We're going to write an offer on this one. And you're standing in the middle of the living room and there's a camera in the kitchen. We've lost all negotiating strategy we just had. Because now the seller has you on film going, yep, we're going to write an offer. Now, if this is the one you have to have, do you think I'm going to come up on price very much? No. I already know you've made up your mind. You've lost every negotiating edge you have. So when we're walking through houses, we're going to be totally quiet until we get back out to the end of the driveway. And then we can talk about it. Or we're going to go sit down at Panera or Starbucks or whatever, and we're going to have a chat about it when I'm not worried about the seller sitting there listening to every word we say. So that's my disclaimer. As soon as we meet is, all right, guys, we're not going to talk about this house until we're back here. Because I do not want you to go in and then go, you know what? This house sucks. Is that really what the seller wants to hear about their house? No. And then the seller's going to go, well, I didn't like that agent because his buyers were not nice about my house. Okay, cool. Now I've made a seller mad that I don't even know for something I didn't even do. So we have to kind of go through those and just be aware of it. Now, how do you become a master at internet lead conversion? Well, and we're going to kind of blow through some of these. We're going to identify why some do well and some don't. We've talked about that. We're going to understand the effective methods to earning the opportunity, the skills for qualifying them, and then tips for choosing them. So, actually, we've talked about some of these duplicated. Sorry, I must have grabbed the wrong one. Scroll through. There was a couple of things in here that I wanted to touch on. Slides in here. Okay. I apologize. Nope, so I just duplicated this slide again. Okay, do you guys have any other questions? Anything else about buying internet leads or, you know, kind of working with those? What do you guys think about internet leads as a whole? Something you'd want to do?
Now, to do the internet leads, that's purchasing though, right?
Sure.
Okay.
So I've purchased leads for a while now.
Okay.
And when I did it, it was when I first started in real estate. So
Mhm.
I only had like 2 cents to spend.
Right, exactly.
You know, and so I'm like, well, if I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna be like 4 leads a month, because that's all I can afford. It's
Right.
gonna be right where I live. So I live right, you know, 52 in the Suncoast, right?
Okay.
So
Yep.
I purchased the 34669 zip code
Mhm.
there, which is 80% trailers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, you know, it was $108 a month, which was a lot.
Yeah.
And still, every time it comes out, I'm like, But the first lead I got was for like an $18,000 piece of land.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and it was an Asian person that I couldn't understand them on the phone.
Okay.
Anyways, long story short, I went out there and she ended up writing contracts on 3 properties. And she's one of my best clients to this day. So my thought of it is, yes, you do need to purchase a ton to get your money back, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes like the best clients are someone you would least expect.
Sure.
Whether it's an internet lead or someone on Facebook or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like, and if you treat them like you've talked about this whole day,
Mm-hmm.
then, I mean, I could probably not get another lead from that for 12 years and
Right.
it's paid for itself.
Exactly.
And so, but I 100% agree with you on the fact that you need to spend in order to really have. But my point
A
is
return.
that every person, has a potential.
Yep.
You know.
And I've shared my story with a couple of people that my best referral source was an $80,000 VA buyer. And, I showed them an ungodly number of homes. And I was the 6th agent they had called. Because no agent would work with an $80,000 VA buyer. It's an exercise in futility. But I worked hard, we found them a house, and now I've had over $1 million in referrals from that $80,000.
See, now I wasn't going to do the internet leads because I don't have the income to do
Sure.
it, but I didn't know that you can do. See, I thought it was like 500 or 1,000, so it's basically.
It depends
how
on the
much
lead
it-
source.
Yeah, that was Realtor.com.
Right.
It was like a portion of a portion of they might not even have those anymore. But you call them, so it was 4 years ago. But if you call them, talk to them, and they're gonna sell you, and they're really
Right.
good at selling you.
I'm sure.
But you may be able to find one that's close to you that's, that's the same.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Homes.com, Realtor.com, Zillow, they all sell leads. And they have different pricing. There are things like Nextdoor, which is kind of a social media that's neighborhood specific. You can buy advertising on there so that, you pop up as the real estate professional when people are in Nextdoor. There's just a bunch of different sources at various price points. But across the board, and you can probably attest to this, your conversion rate's about 5%. You'll close 1 out of 20.
I can do that from just going to unknown people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. So if you're using some of the tools that we have,
Right.
our Facebook lead generator, our smart tool and some of the others, we're regularly converting more than 10%. Just across the board. And it's free.
Right.
We give it to you.
You don't have to fight 15 other agents.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With
That's
all
my
those
biggest
sites
turnout.
out, like, you have to
Yep.
call right away.
Right.
Text right away, and sometimes, like, sending contracts, so I'll call them like, a minute later, and they'll be like, oh, yeah.
Right.
It's like, I was going to the restroom.
Right. I needed to wash my hands. Trust me.
So,
Yeah. But yeah, that's exactly it. So internet leads, while there's certainly a place for them, it's one of those things that when you're talking about a farm area and you're talking about, working with buyers, and if you're in a situation where you're like, hey, I'm new to the area, I really don't know a lot of people, I don't have the ability to connect, it might be a viable option. But what I tell everybody is, in real estate, you're either gonna have cash equity or sweat equity. You're going to put equity into your business. It's going to happen. You have to decide if I have the financial equity or if I'm willing to put in the sweat equity and do the door knockers and the, go meet your neighbors and, you're gonna put the effort in. It's just, can I stroke a check and do it that way? Or, am I gonna be out in the 90-degree sun in May and, that's what it's gonna be. But in real estate, I don't know anybody that just said, hey, I got my real estate license and their business literally fell in their lap. I don't know anybody like that. There was always a level of work and a level of effort that goes into it. So you're going to make an investment in your business and an investment into yourself. It's just whether it's monetary or, putting yourself into it. So, all right, well, it looks like we don't have any other questions. So thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow in Spring Hill.
Thank you.
is